Hello everyone. I'm going to be showing you how to change your own engine's motor oil. It's always a good idea to change your own motor oil than taking it to a shop to do it. You'll always do a much better job than they will. The first thing you want to do is you want to get the oil. In this case, I always use the polysynthetic oil and also the oil filter. So this is the first thing you want to do. You can get them at the store. I bought these two at Walmart, and they have this on sale for $22, and the oil filter was $5. The tools you're going to be using is I'm going to be using the 19 millimeter socket to remove the drain plug from the oil pan, wrench, oil filter remover or extractor. This particular one is called a jaw. If you have an older model like this 2003 Volkswagen Beetle, my wife's car, more likely you'll be using something like this to remove the engine oil filter. If you have a more modern car, you'll be using something like this, which is sort of a cap, and this will connect to the wrench, and then you'll be able to extract the oil filter. Alright, you'll also need a flashlight, just in case you're doing this in the dark like I am. I'm doing it inside my garage, and paper towel, because changing your own oil, it's going to be pretty messy. Okay, and then the second thing you want to do is you want to jack up your car. In this case, I'm using a ram. I think the ramp is better. If you don't have a ramp, you could also use a jack like this and a couple of jack stands. So what you're going to do is you're going to look up your owner's manual and see where the jack point is, would be under your car. And in this particular model, it's usually about right here underneath here. There's a metal piece there where I could put the jack underneath and then jack up the car. Alright. And then once you jack up the car, it's very important that you secure it with a chalk, just to prevent the wheels from going back. So this right here is a chalk, and they pretty much put it against that toy right there, so the car won't move anywhere when I work underneath it. Okay. And then the next step would be to turn on the car and let your car run for about 5 minutes. And the reason why you want to let your car run for 5 minutes is because a hotter or warmer oil will actually drain better than a cold oil. Okay. The next thing I want to mention is you want to have basins like this. In this case, I'm going to be using 2 of them. I'm going to be using this to catch the oil, and then I'm going to be using this to catch the oil that's coming from the oil filter. Alright. Okay, I just finished warming up the car. The car is now warm, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take out the dipstick and put it aside, and then I'm going to take out the oil cap here and also put it aside. And now I'm going to go underneath the car and remove the bolt and drain the oil. Okay, like I said, once your car is securely jacked up or up on the ramp, I would recommend that you use a creeper like this to get underneath the car. If you don't have a creeper like this, you could also use cardboard. Just, for me personally, I prefer to use the cardboard because it gives me a little bit more room when I go underneath the car. This is just to prevent my back from getting dirty. Alright, we're now underneath the car, and the first thing you want to do is locate where the plug is. In this particular model, the plug is right here, and then locate where your oil filter would be. And again, in this particular model, the oil filter is right here up front, this blue one right here. Okay, now use your socket and wrench to remove the bolt. In this case, it might be a little bit tight, so just wiggle it a little bit like so, while you put a little bit of pressure on it. Okay, now it's coming loose. Alright, now it's loose. Okay, so now I'm just going to use my hand to manually remove the bolt. And don't remove it completely yet. Now what you want to do is you want to get a towel and the basin. The towel is just to get ready because it's going to be nice when the oil comes up. And I'm putting the basin right underneath it. Now you want the basin to be slightly back, not in the middle like this, because when the oil comes out, it'll just spout out that way, and it'll get on your floor, and that can be very messy. So just leave it about right here. Okay, now I'm going to remove the bolt. I'm removing the bolt now. So get ready. There it goes. And it's right directly at the center of the basin. And right now I got oil all over my hand. So that's why I have the towel ready right there. I'm just going to put the bolt right there. And then wipe my hand on it. Okay. Okay, now I'm going to be using the oil extractor or the jaw. Get it underneath here. Again, it's tight, so give it a little wiggle. There you go, it's coming. That's it. Okay, now it's nice and there you go, it's coming along nicely. Alright, it's loose now. Alright, so I'm going to take this out, and I'm going to be using my hand to loosen it up even more. Okay, and get your basin ready because this is going to start dripping oil. As you can see, it's dripping oil already, and I got my basin right there all set. So let it drip a little bit. There it goes. Alright. And again, this is why I say it's very important to have your paper towel ready. Okay, so I have it ready right here. So wipe this one down. Let's give it a couple of seconds here. And open it up even more so it'll drain even more. Again, removing the oil filter is oftentimes a lot more messier than removing the plug. Okay, I think now I can go ahead and remove it all the way. Again, be ready because when it comes out, it's going to be messy. Carefully, and then just dump it in the oil basin. Sorry, just the basin. Okay, and then I'm just gonna leave it there. All right. The next thing you want to do is just let it drain. Again, earlier I mentioned that you'll do a much better job at changing your own oil than taking it to a shop. And this is the reason. It's because you're gonna let it drain completely. I would I would say give it about 45 minutes to an hour and just let it drain all the way. Okay? So I'm gonna wait for about 45 to an hour and I'll come back and plug everything up. I'm gonna be putting the new oil filter and I'm gonna be putting back the drain plug. Okay, see you in 45 minutes. Okay, everyone, I've allowed the engine oil to drip for an hour, or over an hour actually. Now the car is ready to be refilled with oil, and it's also ready to get a new filter. I have to apologize because earlier on I did mention to let your car warm up for about 5 minutes, and you see me pull out the filter from the bottom because the filter is connected like this vertically to the car, and a little bit of oil did seep out and it went to my hand. Now if the engine is hot, you will definitely feel it. I forgot to mention that if well I mean, to me, I'm just used to the hot oil because I've done it so many times now. But if it bothers you, you could always use a rubber glove like this to extract it. Just wear it and then extract it. Or you could also use a cup so that it'd be a lot less messier. And what you'll do is you put a cup down here and pretend the engine oil filter is still connected. What you could do is you could just put the cup underneath it and then turn it in order to remove it. All right. The oil will not drip on your hand, and instead it'll just drip around the cup. So, and also earlier in the video I did mention that you'll do a much better job changing your own oil than taking it to a shop. And the reason why I said that is because at the shop they do a rush job. Back in the 90s, when they didn't know much about changing oil, I would always take it to a shop like Jiffy Lube or Grease Monkey, and they would do a 20-minute to 30-minute job on it. And I watched them do it actually. And what I've noticed is that they'll let it drain for like a couple of minutes and then put the plug back in and then put the oil filter back in. And that's it. That's it. And then they'll just refill it with fresh oil and then off you go. So you don't want to do that. You want to give it some time to drip. All right. So at least you'll get as much of that old oil out of and put in some fresh ones. Okay. Now the next thing you want to do is to go ahead and pour some of that oil inside of this oil filter. It's sort of like pre-filling it before putting it in. You don't have to do that on this particular car if you have a small passenger car like this, or just a small compact car. You don't have to do it, but I do it anyway because once I turn on the car and the oil starts cycling, pre-filled oil in this filter would make it easier for that cycle to go through, versus where if you just turn on the key and the oil starts cycling, the oil would have to reach the filter and then it would have to build up some oil, and then the filtration will start to work. All right, so again, it's not necessary, but I would just recommend that you do pre-fill it. So I'm going to go ahead and pre-fill this. Oops, sorry, it's dripping. Do it again. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to wet the rubber around it. Okay. I'm going to add a little bit more oil, so I'm going to pause for a moment here. Okay, I apologize. I do have to put the cell phone down so I could use both of my hands. So I went ahead and pre-filled it with oil, and I also put some oil on this rubber thing here. So when I put the oil filter back in there, it'll slip right through the thing and give me a little bit more twist when I twist it back on. So this serves like a little bit of lubrication there. Okay, so now I'm going to put this oil filter in my wife's car now. Okay, so the oil filter's back in there, and there's a little bit of thing here that you can grip on to tighten this, and all you need to do is just hand tight it. You don't have to use any tools for it, just basically all hand tight. All right, can give it a little bit more twist. Okay, there. I think that's really tight now. Okay, now I'm putting in the drain plug. First thing I did is tighten it first with my hand. All right, a couple more clockwise twist there. And now I'm going to go get my wrench and tighten it even more. All right, there you go. Give it a good turn. There you go. I think that's really tight now. Okay. We're in the engine bay now. I'm going to be putting the dipstick back. There you go. And then I'm going to be using the oil funnel. And again, use your car's manual to see how much oil your car will take. In this particular model, this car will take about 4.5 quarts. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. Put in 4.5 quarts. Okay, done. I got 4.5 quarts in there. Now I'm going to be putting the cap back in. Let's see, it goes this way. Very important that this stays tight. So that's good. So dipstick's on. It's tight. This is tight. Okay, that's it. That pretty much concludes it. Now your car is ready to go. All I have to do now is just clean up. So, all right. I hope you find this information useful. Okay. All right. God bless you all. Take care.